Yep. On Facebook, recording, we're good.
All right, good deal. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. This was a presentation that we had planned for a face-to-face / live stream like we do with everything else. And we pushed it, but it's just what Shawn and Kat does at Keenability and working with the realtors I sit and work with a lot of our realtors. Just amazing stuff. And it's amazing how, you can just have one person or one creative guy, can make a big difference in, your overall look and feel, especially when you're going on listing presentations, to have that, step above what everyone has access to, right? I mean, all of us can pull flyers down from list reports or RPR, wherever it may be, make our own in Canva. But until you have your own branding, and that's something that Location, we've kind of, for 10 years ago, we started off with the idea that we want our realtors to be running their own business. Ergo, we want you to, manage and build your own brand. And that way it's, the relationship between you and the client's everything. And, to that end, that's why people use you, because of you, not because of the logo and location necessarily. So we are big advocates of that. I've seen agents of ours that have used Keenability here that wanted to get into luxury. And I think this is a precursor to that, having a very nice palette, your branding guidelines, much like we have for a company. So Shawn and Kat and their team do a great job with it. So he wanted to come on, and they wanted to come on and share some of their top things that are working right now while we're all stuck. Hopefully this all changes pretty quickly. I know Colorado was lifted on Monday, but with a lot of caveats. So this is germane not only to if you were locked in your house for another 2 weeks, or if they open the floodgates tomorrow and say, go do 5 open houses today. At the end of the day, you want to have yourself represented, from a marketing standpoint very well. And that's what Shawn and Kat bring us. So without further ado, Shawn, I'll turn it over to you and let you, Kat, take it away. That's a cue for you, Shawn. That's a go, Shawn. Okay, Kat, this is where you jump in and save him because it looks like he's frozen. That or he's amazingly stoic.
Let's see.
Do we have the presentation? If he can hear us, he could probably throw the presentation up.
Sure. I can actually.
He's probably going to have to reconnect when he's usually have to close it down and open it back up.
Oh, okay. So maybe he's just coming back in. Well, here's something that I can do quickly.
There he is. Looks like he's back in.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry about that, guys. That dropped out there for me. Hopefully that.
It's a good thing you're in marketing and not an IT company, because that would have been pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm back.
All right. So here we go. Without further ado, take it over, Shawn.
Okay, great. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Jeremy, of course.
That's all I said.
So, all right, guys. So first, thank you to Jeremy for the introduction. Some of you may recognize Kat and myself from a previous presentation that we had in office from a couple months back. And during that time, we kind of talked a little bit about just the stark differences between really great looking, well-designed, graphically designed marketing and just the sort of stuff that you might build off of a template or something like that. But today what I want to do is talk more about what you can do right now, because obviously there's a lot of uncertainty with economics, with the housing market, with all that sort of a thing. And if this is in the way, then I'm just going to move this over a little bit. All of the things that there's so much uncertainty, and obviously this is still a great opportunity if you play it right and if you have the right tools at your disposal to actually gain market share and potentially gain business. I won't give too much away right now, but we'll go ahead and dive in and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about, because what I want to really do is help you guys understand what you can be doing right now, first in terms of marketing yourself, but also in terms of going about it the correct way, making sure that it's a very professional kind of presentation, because that's something that's going to carry over whether you're under quarantine or not, right? Presenting yourself in a professional way, in a well-designed way, that's timeless, so to speak, and is always going to help you. So let's get down into it. This is the cure for marketing under quarantine. So first thing here, obviously, why should you care? Well, that's self-explanatory, right? You care because there's so much uncertainty going on right now that we mentioned, that you want to take advantage of anything that you can personally control. You also care because everything that I'm going to go over requires little to no investment other than your time, and you'll reap the benefits far past the current crisis. But most importantly, as fellow business owners, you all know that business doesn't stop. And it's more important than ever to really bust your ass to earn more of it. So another reason you should care is that most of the competition, your competing realtors, competing brokerages, they're just as scared as you are right now, if not more so. Some of them are probably just going to buckle down and try to wait it out. And you won't hear anything from them until you're at a party 6 or 12 months from now, and they tell you, oh yeah, I used to be a realtor too until COVID happened. Others will keep their marketing as is, and they'll have a bit of an advantage, but keeping things status quo isn't a smart move either. Just imagine, you see a postcard for a listing talking about all the great food and entertainment options that are located a few minutes away from it. That wouldn't really go over very well. And the smart and ultimately the successful realtors will be strategic with their marketing efforts. They're the ones that will decide to pursue they're the ones that will be strategic with their marketing efforts, and the marketing efforts that they actually decide to pursue, they'll invest the time and resources that are necessary toward them. These are the realtors that you'll gain market share because everybody else is either sticking their heads in the sand or they're continuing on as if nothing has changed, which we all know is not the case. These are the ones that will set themselves up for the rebound that is to come. And one other thing to kind of make note of in the current climate that we've noticed with our clients, both anecdotally and with hard data and actual hard money being exchanged, is that luxury buyers, if you work with them, you've probably already noticed, but the 1 million plus niche is still pretty active, especially for buyers out of state. Northeasterners that have put off their move to come down south are taking the plunge because they don't want to go through anything like this again up in New York or Boston, that sort of area. If this is your market, then you definitely need to consider bolstering your efforts rather than cutting down on them. So the first tip that I want to go over is setting up a plan for after quarantine. The first thing that you want to do is take inventory of your current clients and where they are or where they were in the buying or selling process before everything kind of slowed down. And you likely have clients whose plans were interrupted and are now totally unsure of where they stand or what they should be doing. So you should take some time to strategize a personalized game plan for how you'll both hit the ground running as things ramp back up. You want to reassess their wants and needs. And in your email, you want to lay out the exact steps that you're going to take together to get the desired results, whether it be finding their perfect home or selling their old one. And the more personalized and detailed that you can make your plan, the better. So a tip for the kind of clients that you might have a hard time devising a plan for, you can simply just reach out and ask questions. Have their plans or have their finances changed? Do they have any questions for you? Just let them know that you're there and you're thinking about them and their well-being. The same thing goes for past clients. You don't want to be afraid to lightly reconnect to check in on them. And finally, this is optional, but definitely suggested for those of you who value a professional look and professionalism. We at Keenability can create a branded template for you, utilizing, like Jeremy mentioned, the proper logos, the brand colors, images, even a skeleton script that you can use if you have access to a platform, say like MailChimp or Campaign Monitor, or HubSpot, Constant Contact, any of those email platforms, then you can simply upload the HTML code that we provide to you and just change the copy as needed. Next step is getting your inbox to 0. You know, if nothing else, then this is great for relieving anxiety. Some of you might be superhuman and be really great about keeping your inbox zeroed out, but most of us mere mortals are definitely not. So, you know, each day that goes by, those unread figures kind of creep up and it gets to a point where it can seem almost insurmountable. But now is the perfect time to tackle this task, and you can actually gain some value from it as well from a business perspective. So what you should do is go through and read and reply to the communications that you've kind of put on the back burner, even if it's just a simple acknowledgement of receipt. I can almost guarantee you that there's probably a potential contact or a business opportunity that you might have overlooked in the past or maybe thought wasn't worthwhile, but this is kind of your one-time chance for a do-over when it comes to that. Many of you are probably signed up to industry-related newsletters and blogs and that sort of a thing. And this is also a great opportunity to go back and kind of self-educate and read up on those that you might have skipped. Because I myself am extremely guilty of this, of seeing something come into my inbox and say, oh, okay, that looks like it might be valuable. And then going on with my day, you know, I'll come back and get back to it. And then of course I never do. But it's been an opportunity, like I said, to kind of self-educate by going back and reading through a lot of these newsletters or blogs that I skipped over. You know, a lot of it's filler, but every so often you get a real gem or new piece of knowledge or insight that you would have otherwise missed and never been able to take advantage of. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to email subscriptions or anything like that with industry related news or aggregate stories or anything like that, then again, this is a great opportunity to kind of seek some out, either speak to your fellow agents or, you know, you can ask us. We have some favorites that we would be happy to share, but go ahead and start subscribing to those. And then as they come in, read them. And again, kind of utilize this opportunity to kind of continue your own education. All right, so here, asking for reviews and testimonials is major when it comes to any sort of marketing. It doesn't really, you know, this is one of those things that can almost save terrible design in a way, because it's social proof and peer proof. And sometimes that's all you need. It tends to be that if you've performed well for somebody in the past, then a lot of people are going to assume, okay, yeah, I'm probably going to have a nice experience with this person as well. So it's extremely important. It's a great opportunity, again, to pursue this sort of a thing right now. Reviews and testimonials are genuine. They're cost effective. They don't cost anything but your time to sit down and genuinely request honest feedback for your experience with past clients. But you know, the thing is, you don't really get them unless you ask for them. When it comes to a bad experience, we all know everybody who has a bad experience somewhere can't wait to shout it from the rooftops any chance they get, as often as they can. But that's not the case with good experience, positive experiences. So generally you have to ask for them. So if you genuinely helped your client and you ask them that they do you this quick favor, then usually they'll oblige. Again, so social and peer proof are just your best friends when it comes to marketing messages. But there's a trick to kind of securing online reviews. So in addition to just asking, you want to make it as easy and straightforward as possible for your client to provide their feedback. So instead of just sending them a link, hey, leave me 5 stars on Facebook, and link them to facebook.com or to zillow.com. Hey, I'd love for a review here. You want to try to keep their responsibility as minimal as possible. Keep it to 1 or 2 clicks on their end. You know, if not even less. You want to send a direct link out to your actual account, whether it be on Facebook or Zillow or Nextdoor, Google, that sort of a thing. And again, if you don't know how to do that, that's a really simple thing we're more than happy to help out with. And that's also something that we can work together on to come up with kind of a script, especially if you have a lot of clients that you want to send this out to and try and really boost those 5 stars, the number of 5 stars that you're securing on these different platforms. Then that's something that we can, again, work out kind of a skeleton script. We can design an email very quickly and easily for you and help you get that out. A couple other just quick points on reviews and testimonials. Once they follow through on their end, then you want to make sure that you go in and personally respond, even if it's just to say thank you, I appreciate it. But go to the actual platform that they left the review on and respond in person. Similar to the game plan that we mentioned before, each correspondence should be as personalized as possible. So the more genuine and the more personal that you can get when asking for this favor, then usually the better result you're going to have. And once you have this kind of feedback, you can repurpose it. You can use it everywhere. You can use it on social media. You can use it on your website. You can use it in other marketing materials. And I want to show you a couple of quick just examples that we've helped our clients kind of aggregate and be able to post. You see there's a couple different examples on Google, Facebook, on Zillow. I want to just take a quick second here and check because I see a couple things coming in on the chat. Huge. Yeah. Okay. So Jonathan, exactly. Definitely huge. Recorded webinar. I'm sure somebody will be able to provide that as well. So I'll keep going. I just want to make sure that I wanted to make sure real quickly that we weren't skipping anybody's questions or anything like that. I'm more than happy to stick around after this and answer any direct questions that anybody might have. But I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'm going to continue forward. The next step that I want you guys to consider is taking the time to get ahead on content. So, I mean, if you're tired of hearing about content, then this isn't the presentation for you. And in fact, any kind of marketing might not be for you because content's not just king, content is everything. The images that you use, the social posts that you make, your email correspondence, that's all considered content. Your entire digital presence is content. And all these things can constantly be improved upon in a more strategic and creative way. One of the best ways to continue to get high quality content out there is what we would normally refer to as blogging. That's still, something that is highly valued by search engines as well as your clients, because the idea behind blogging, or whether you put it in an article or kind of a newsletter send, is to provide specific, relevant information on a regular basis. And like I said, that's what helps people view you as an authority, whether it be a search engine or whether it be one of your clients. Because, for example, Google's most basic premise is to provide the best possible answer to a specific query. So websites that generally provide updated, informative content tend to be more successful when it comes to ranking. So you have time right now. Take it to go ahead and work ahead on some pieces of content that you can then distribute to your contact lists or post on your website or share through social media. But you don't want to be generic. You're not doing it just to do it. The top 5 things to bake for your next open house isn't really going to help anybody. But on the other hand, tips like making virtual showings easier or more professional, for example, investing in an external microphone or a small gimbal that attaches to your phone. These are current, interesting, helpful kind of topics that you could talk about. So you use this time wisely, and you could end up with months worth of content that you're able to utilize and lean on as you continue to kind of get more busy as the months go on. So again, just a couple quick examples to illustrate the point. This is one of our clients, a relatively local client with Lang Realty up in Boca. I know it's very hard probably for you guys to see, but here's a list of some of the blogs that he's uploaded just recently, really since this has started. He's been maintaining his content, and you can see here's a kind of blown up example. It's not just generic sort of stuff. It's very well researched, in-depth content that we produce for him that is it's going to help visitors to his website. It's going to help gain more visitors to his website through the SEO benefits. And this is just because content is something that does take a concentrated effort. It's not something that is expensive per se, but it's something that requires a lot of time. There's a lot of time investment. So again, this is a good opportunity. If you don't have to run from client to client to client like usual, sit down, start brainstorming some topics. How can you add value in this sort of a way to not only your current clients, but future clients? So next step, sit down, take some more time again to brainstorm your next farming campaign. The thing about farming campaigns is that they need a lot of time and effort to be strategic and unique. It needs to be thoughtfully planned out in order to be successful. You can't just send a few newly listed postcards out for a couple of months and then kind of throw in the towel when your phone doesn't ring. What you want to do is make sure that all of the included pieces work off of each other and tell a complete story. That story can include recent sales and listings, but also market reports. One or two pieces could be more personal, that introduce yourself or your family or contain fun personal facts, because you have to remember you're in the relationship building business. So you want to make sure to inject some of your own personality into your farming campaign. So take time, plan out 6 to 12 ideas for a direct mail campaign. These can include topics, design bullet points, even the kind of piece that you're going to send. And when I say that, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about, because what a couple of your fellow agents have decided to do is not just stick with a typical 6x11 postcard, because we're able to design and print and mail really aesthetically dynamic pieces to send out through the mail that'll stand out once somebody's opening their mailbox, and they won't just get lost. I'm going to give you an example here. We've been working with Julianne Burton for a little bit now. We're actually in the middle of a farming campaign with her that we started a couple months ago. And again, I know this is a little hard to see. I'll make sure that if anybody wants to see the actual example, I have no problem sending that directly to you. But this is an example of the first piece that we created. And it's not done to size, but this was an extremely oversized, big bifold piece that was, obviously very eye-catching. I mean, when you're pulling it out of the mailbox, it basically engulfs all of the other pieces of mail, all the other envelopes, all the other postcards, that sort of thing. And you pull it out and you see, the reason that we went with such a big initial piece was first because this is kind of an introduction thing for her farming campaign. It's, hey, I'm on the scene. I want to make an impression right away. Here's a huge piece for a home that I just sold in your neighborhood. It's a beautiful house, obviously, up here in Boca. And that's the second reason why we wanted to do a large piece, was to showcase this sort of house. This big, beautiful house needs a big, beautiful piece. There's not a whole lot of content with it. There didn't have to be. The piece itself was doing the selling, so to speak, and grabbing the eye. We followed that up with another piece. This one was a market report style. Again, not a 6x11 postcard. This one was an 8.5x11 sell sheet. So front and back, really high quality stock. Again, for another listing that she had that she wanted to demonstrate in the farming campaign. This one was more of a, hey, yes, it's a market report. This is what things have been looking like for Boca Raton luxury home market. And also compared to, this is the listing that I just helped sell. And you can kind of see, okay, the sales price and how it compared to the average price per square foot, the percentage of the list price received compared to average, and the days on market compared to average for this actual market. So the idea obviously is to say, first, introduce yourself. Second, look, I'm really badass. I can help you out. Here's another great marketing piece that I've invested in. And you can kind of see my results, see the results for yourself. So one thing before we kind of move on to keep in mind, you don't want to rely on photos that you took from your phone. None of these photos that we included in these print ads or these direct mail pieces are from a cell phone. They're professional photography, which is what you need if you're going to be doing any sort of print. because there has to be, it's got to be high enough quality to look good in print. Otherwise it's going to become pixelated, and, people are going to be able to tell very easily, very quickly, whether or not you decided to invest in this sort of thing, or whether you just kind of sent it out. Again, it's something that we can help with, whether it be the strategy behind the farming campaign, whether it be photography, anything like that. And we actually already have agreed upon pricings that we've set up with Jonathan and with Jeremy for location agents specifically. So it's something that, again, if you're hesitant to do this right now because of finances, or uncertain about when things are really going to start picking up, which, the good news is we're starting to see some positive moves in that direction. And I know everybody's excited about actually being able to show houses again. But you have to keep in mind, if you're worried about sitting down and doing this now and investing in it now, so are all your competing agents. Most of them are feeling the same thing and thinking, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait. This is the perfect time to really strike on that. Okay, the next tip is revamp your social media. Again, take a little bit of time. This is going to be helpful for you past just the current climate. Because when it comes to your professional social media efforts, consistency and professionalism are the two main keys. So making sure that you have branded image templates can help you maintain, that consistency and visibility, and it makes your posts easily recognizable. You want to make sure that you're properly branded at all times, which again is something that that Jeremy harped on at the beginning of this. It's essential no matter what price range you work with, or what price range your clientele is in. For first time and lower end buyers, they'll have more trust in you if they see that you're constantly, taking time to make sure that all of your stuff is up to date, all of your stuff is branded, all of your stuff looks professional. And luxury buyers, if you want to kind of move more towards that arena, their luxury buyers and sellers are going to see that you invest in yourself, you invest in your marketing, and likely you're going to really care about serving them professionally and getting their home sold. Again, Keenability, we can quickly create branded Photoshop templates for all kinds of different social media platforms, whether it be LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We can set those up for you. We can provide them to you. We can make sure that your email signature is up to date and aesthetic. And it's all seemingly really small details, but they all add up and make a huge overall difference. At the very least, right now, you should be going profile by profile. You should review for typos, any outdated information, and get all of that up to par. I'm going to give you a couple other examples that we've done in the past for several clients, just to give you an idea of what it looks like when everything's kind of branded overall. This was a realtor group in St. Louis. We came up with their logo. We came up with all their branding elements, the colors, everything like that. And, you can see that it's instantly recognizable as Kim Cameron Group. Everything is very obvious and branded. Here's another couple examples here of one is for a realty group in Raleigh. The other is one in, I believe, also in Virginia. These are just examples of the actual template that we would provide, especially here on the right. That's something where we would provide the PSD file. You'd have all the fonts, you'd have the colors and the logo and everything already right there. All you need to do is just drag and drop a picture onto it and update the copy if you choose to do so. One last example from a realtor in Virginia, Team Staples, and you can kind of get a sense.
So Kat, maybe you can jump in on this here.
Keep frozen.
Sure. Let me see if I can go back to sharing my screen for you. Just another quick point on this social media. I would always start small, just like Shawn did. I mean, think of it when you're going to show a house, right? You need to make sure even the tiniest of tiniest details are in order, because who knows what people notice. And you need to apply that to all current marketing that you have. And not only is it the small details, but by showing and emulating this extremely professional look, no matter if someone's just looking and browsing their page, if they know you, if they've even heard you, your professionalism is something that stands out amongst competition extremely well, because I'm sure you've all been scrolling through social media and seen some pretty horrific templates or posts or things where you're like, oh my God. But again, it's just another way that can really set you apart from your competition. And social media is something we really stress to take advantage of and take seriously.
Yeah, thank you, Kat, for picking up. That's exactly why she's here. I apologize to everybody for that dropout there again. I won't take too much longer. It shouldn't happen again. But again, I apologize. It's one of the perks of working from home here. So let's move on, because as Kat was saying, social media is definitely a large part, and making sure that you're branded on it is great. And this kind of ties in as well. And this happens to be kind of the final tip that I have for you, is how to become your neighborhood expert, or how to further, entrench yourself as the neighborhood expert. You can decide to do this for either your own neighborhood or for the neighborhood that you, as a supplemental tactic to the neighborhood that you identify for your farming campaign. But it's a way to kind of do so digitally. So the goal here is to provide value to residents outside of real estate. The easiest way to decide how you're going to do that is to just kind of examine your own hobbies and interests. For example, if you enjoy working out, then maybe you want to share some of your favorite in-home or no equipment workout ideas. If you enjoy spending time in the kitchen, then you can share a recipe or two. And if you figured out how to keep your children engaged with distance learning, then please send those tips to me, because that's something that we're struggling with over here. If you don't feel comfortable though with any of those sort of suggestions, then you want to repurpose other available content. One of the most interesting Facebook groups that I found during this time is there's one dedicated to restaurants and bars that are offering specials for curbside pickup and delivery throughout South Florida. So the restaurants and bars are able to come on there, or people are able to share different information that they found for these different places. And we've seen it kind of blow up. There have been some places that have said, hey, today we've got a special for curbside. It's X amount of dollars for the first 50 people that come, get this great 3-course meal. And it seems to work pretty well. It gets a lot of engagement. So where I'm going with that is you could do some light research either through a group like that on social media, or by directly contacting some of the restaurants and bars or other small businesses near the neighborhood that you're going to be concentrating on. And
Shawn?
I think we lost him again.
Okay. So I can pick up quickly. I know Shawn has another slide, but I think we're giving you examples of, the bare minimum that you can do and keep going the extra mile. I know personally speaking, I've grabbed some interest from different people on, these broad groups. There, like Shawn was saying, there's one for Boca Raton. I live in Boca Raton, and I know he's had one for like Broward County, and we've gone back and forth talking to different people, and it doesn't always have to be real estate focused. You want to be friendly, reach out, help people, and they'll notice your name, and then they'll find out what you do. But you just want to create a presence any way you can. And the examples that Shawn was talking about is a great place to start. Just kind of think outside the box of real estate and what more you can contribute and become that neighborhood expert that he's talking about.
right, yeah, and you're also doing your part by helping out local businesses, which is something that everybody certainly is aware of and wants to do their part to do so. So that's another positive there. And some of those business owners could actually be in the neighborhood that you're deciding to farm or concentrate on. Again, if you need help with a simple email template, or you want to brainstorm out some of the ideas, then please feel free to reach out to the two of us. Just the last final examples here. Here's South Florida Eats Facebook page. You'll find a bunch of different ones that are locally focused that will really help you out, especially because you want to be a bit hyper local when it comes to this sort of thing. And finally, here's an example of the actual group that I was referencing earlier, curbside and takeout during the shutdown for South Florida. All right, so to sum it all up, there's several suggestions here that I shared that are ways that you can help optimize your time under quarantine, that you can ways to continue actively marketing yourself in the appropriate manner right now. They're all basically free. They're ideas that we're sharing with you, but for those, again, that take professionalism to heart, and this is, again, something that is very important in the real estate industry. If you don't have the necessary time or the expertise to be able to execute these sort of ideas at a high enough level, then again, we're here. We are a resource for you guys. We've been working and talking with Jeremy and Jonathan for a while now. We've worked with some of your fellow agents for the past few months, and we want to help you guys succeed right now, not just right now, but also in the future when things start to ramp up. So the last thing that I'll kind of leave you with is keep in mind that most likely this isn't going to last forever. We know that. We know it's going to be a little bit different on the other side of this, but we also know that as things start to ramp up with more reopenings and more business, there's going to be advertising coming out of the woodwork. And all of everybody who kind of waited is now going to flood the market more or less. You're probably going to start seeing a bunch of postcards and farming campaigns and all kinds of digital advertising, that sort of thing. So it's even more reason really to get on this as quickly as possible. Every day that goes by is a potential wasted opportunity in that regard. So if you want to contact us, if you want to talk to either Kat or myself more, again, we're available. We're more than happy to do so. We can go over any of these things in a lot more depth. We obviously have full capabilities and expertise when it comes to any other kind of more traditional advertising, whether it be print, radio, or digital, anything like that. We've got a lot of experience there. I'm more than happy to help. My email address, I apologize for not having it on this presentation, but it is Shawn, SHAWN, at Keenability.com. That's all one word. And Kat's is also very simple. It's Kat, K-A-T, at Keenability.com. Again, if you don't have that for whatever reason, just reach out to Jeremy. He knows I'm Johnny on the spot when it comes to getting back in.
A quick question here for you, Shawn, that came up in the chat box. Regarding the social media involvement, the branding, what is the extent that you guys help or would be willing to manage a social media and the cost for that?
Shawn,
Kat?
did you hear that question?
I think he's frozen again.
So I'll jump in here, Kat, a little bit. Just in summary, guys, thanks, Shawn, thanks, Kat, for that. I've been trying to think of a good analogy here to kind of what this level of service brings, and affords you guys. And I'm a car guy, so I have to go with cars. What's the difference between a Ford and a Ferrari, or a luxury car versus an entry-level car? And to me, I think it embodies one word: refinement. And I think that's what you can achieve by spending a little time, energy, and money on getting things set for yourself and your company. As far as pricing goes, I'll let Shawn jump back in. It's a bespoke marketing plan. It's not your typical canned out of the book, this is for you type pricing. But with that being said, they can certainly give you very good framework, I would imagine, with respect to different type, what you're looking to do, digital print, et cetera. I will say from my personal experience and that from some of our other agents that, if you do look to print up a bunch of these materials, if you use their printer, the cost savings through their printer and almost offset their design cost. So there was a lot of savings. So it was, at the end of the day, it was beyond belief. I was shocked how affordable, I guess, it was, given what I got out of it. And again, this is just through the savings they were able to save through their, their volume discounts with printers, high-end printers at that. Shawn, you back online?
I am, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Again, as Jeremy said, yeah, that's one of our main advantages is we are able to produce really high, something that, again, we've discussed multiple times to make sure that we're able to do it in a fashion that is that makes sense for all parties involved.
So do you have any other question, guys? Feel free to, we can unmute everyone if someone has some ideas. Kat or Shawn, if you would, send me a Facebook post with your direct contact information, both of you on there. And I'll put that in our closed Facebook group so people will have your point of contact info and can reach out to you and have that one-on-one conversation.
If there are any questions on here, you guys can unmute yourself and ask them directly. This is a good time to get it direct.
Yeah, come on, guys. You're letting Kat and Shawn off way too easy here.
They're afraid that I'm going to drop off in the middle of my answer.
Shawn, how many leads can you guarantee me?
Well, how big is your budget, Jeremy?
It's about a buck and a handshake, Shawn. Buck and a handshake.
I'm just kidding. So,
I have a question for you guys, actually.
Yeah, sure.
So as it pertains to the print marketing, how do you feel about effectiveness in delivering through any type of delivery service or every door direct mail? What would be your recommended format for doing direct mail? Is it more door knocking, kind of organic, or is it through a service?
Yeah, so well, one thing to address is we usually don't do every door direct. We like to be a bit more targeted than that. So what we'll do is we'll actually go and purchase lists. For example, with Julianne's is a good example. We wanted to make sure that we weren't just sending her farming campaign to any and everybody that was within a certain zip code, because she's targeting more luxury clientele. So we needed to look for homes and condos that with a certain assessed value, and really kind of drill down the area and the potential target audience that we wanted to go after, and we wanted to actually receive the pieces. So it's we do go through the post office. That's how we have a mail house that we work with, and that's one of the reasons, again, that we're able to provide really affordable direct mail campaigns. But it's usually not every door direct. It's not personal, kind of walking up and doing and handing things out. Although we have had clients in the past that have done the kind of door hangers, for example. One realtor, she wanted to make sure that she was highly visible in her own community. So what we did was we got her some door hangers. We actually ended up getting like these small little tubs of hand sanitizer as well to kind of attach that. And she kind of went door to door in her community. And it was sort of a, hey, introduction of myself, or reintroduction in some cases. Here's some hand sanitizer because it's flu season. This was a couple years back. Here's some hand sanitizer. Here's some stuff about me. Just, consider me if you are looking to buy or sell sometime in the near future. So that can be effective. It's a lot more personal, but it's also something that, you only really want to take that on if you're looking at a smaller type of community, not necessarily try to hit an entire zip code or anything. So in general, our suggestion is we try to get targeted lists according to your best target audience, and then send that way.
Anybody else with questions? Feel free to unmute yourself, or if you don't have a mic, you can type it in.
Okay, I see something on the chat. What's the most effective mail piece? Okay, well, let me address AFs first. So what's the most effective mail piece? It depends. It depends. I wouldn't say that there's just one type of mail piece that's more effective. I think it's more, what we found is it's more in the presentation of the information. So again, going back to, you can just put a just sold on a 6x11 postcard, but you make a lot more impact and draw a lot more attention when you put it in a different kind of format instead of one that's so standard. So, and that's kind of what we want to be able to bring to you. It's not so much a one size fits all approach. It's, okay, well, let's talk about what the options are that are going to be most effective, and let's talk about the best ways we can present them and design them. So that's kind of, that's how I would answer that. And in regards to your second part about how print marketing compares with social ads, so this is really interesting because up until right now in this current situation, I would have said that social ads are going to be your best ROI no matter what. But as of right now, everybody's home, you know, and they've been home for a while. And even when things start to kind of ramp up a little bit, a lot of people are probably going to continue to be more homebodies. So we've actually helped some of our clients right now and in the recent past kind of pivot to a more direct mail campaign because, you know, there's a little bit of a renaissance coming on with that. It's just kind of an opportunity to get in front of people in a different way. So if you're really on a budget, then social ads are probably going to be the best choice if you had to only pick one thing. But when you really put together a really high level and high quality direct mail campaign, especially in this current climate, then there's a lot of opportunity there as well. And okay, a suggestion, handmade cards to your sphere using a Post-it. Okay, so that I'm not entirely clear on the question there, Laura. If you can just kind of reiterate that for me. Ricardo, commercial real estate marketing. Yes, that's something that we have done before. Obviously, that is kind of a different beast than residential. I would have some examples that I could send over to you to look at, and we can have more of a conversation because, like I said, that's a different kind of, there's some different tactics. It's a different kind of an audience, but that is something that we have had experience with in the past. And Laura, I'm not sure if you followed up or not, but using a Post-it note inside where they can reuse the card. So I think
She was just giving a suggestion of what she's been doing with hers.
Gotcha. Something that's engaging for the end user is definitely a good suggestion. Like I said, with the hand sanitizer, that's also a good one. Something that they can use. That's just a little something extra that's going to set you apart. So it is a really good suggestion. And Ricardo, I will take down your email and we'll be in touch.
All right. Guys, Shawn, Kat, appreciate you guys taking the time and running through that. I think we could all use a push in the right direction when we're setting a certain pattern, a certain schedule at home. So thank you for your input. And you guys have contact information in case you want to reach out to the guys at Keenability to help you brush up and tune up and see how you can continue to compete.
Got it. Thank you so much for bearing with me, guys. And Jeremy, I appreciate it. You know, we're happy to talk and talk with any of you or present this again at any point.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. I
Thanks,
really
Shawn.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks, Shawn. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You too.
Okay.
All right. Bye now.